All kinds of new technology being integrated as we hit episode 220 of Riter Radio. It's a lot. There's a lot going on, man. A lot of buttons to push. I've added a fourth screen to the mix, which is just my phone. But for the first time today, I'm going to try to interact with the chat on YouTube. I can't promise that I'll see everything that comes through there or that I'll be super fast to reply or anything like that. But early on, we were just doing audio, and there was a chat on Mixlr, and I just had that open on the screen. I didn't have to think about all these other elements. I didn't have to think about lighting and my face being on camera and showing video and update. Like, there's just a lot more going on. But now that we're moving more into the video realm here, and the audio is still there, but I can't have Mixlr open on a screen. So we've made some adaptations. Started using Spotify and my Riter Radio playlist for music instead of playing individual songs, although I'll still play some individual stuff. But I've accumulated, I don't know, it was like 286 songs, and I've got a stack. I haven't input these songs yet. Look at this. These are show sheets. I don't know how far, when I stopped doing it, but I'm going to start at the newest and work backward and add those all in. So we're going to have 500 songs in there, and they're all Brad approved songs. So even if I'm not picking the song for the moment, which will still happen at times, the overall audio presentation will be stuff that I've previously approved, used on purpose, wanted on the air. But that takes something off my plate. And I found a way, and I don't know that it'll work every time because I did it last night and I had to reset it this morning, but found a way to, during the breaks or during the lead into the show, if you were just here for the first 10 minutes or whatever before I started talking, the Spotify thing there's a little box on the screen, and it shows you the artist and title of the song, which I think is probably helpful because I get a lot of messages on the side, like, what was that song he played? And I can't tell you because I don't remember. So there's that. A lot of developments. All of this in place of the previous way I'd been doing the show prior to this week, where I had a sheet, it was all typed out, and I wrote in what was going to happen on every segment. And once again, we're down to, a show looks like this now, instead of being completely mapped out. I can tell you that at 11 o'clock, Scott Wilson will join me. Also, I know something that we will be discussing today because UB wound up in the news is wrong. I've said this a bunch of times. If you just don't look at Twitter, X, much of what there's like two worlds. There's two worlds. There's the people that are paying attention to that and think that's a real place. And then there's me, where every now and then I'll click on it to see, I don't know, to watch funny videos. I don't really use it as a news source. But it's impossible for me to not notice last night that a play from the UB football game from last week has come under scrutiny of internet watchdogs. I don't want to get into detail on it because then I'll just end up repeating myself when Scott is on. But it involves UB wide receiver and leading scorer this year. I think he's got to be. He scored a lot of touchdowns. Victor Snow. There was a 58-yard play where he stepped out of bounds rather than continuing. It looked like he had a clear path to the end zone, and he's being accused of all kinds of stuff from people who are not in the know at all, didn't know the context of it, don't know him, haven't spoken with him, nobody asked. Just, I'm going too far already. I want to save it, but I will tell you that 45 minutes from right now, there will be a pretty animated discussion between Scott Wilson and myself, both of whom are members of the UB football broadcast crew and have been for a long time. We've determined Scott has done 15 years of it. I've done 16 years of it. And we just, we've been around the program. We know the players and we know football. And I don't even want to say I know football because I don't know anything. But I do know what I don't know. I think a lot of people pretend to not, or let's see, a lot of people don't know what they don't know and pretend they do know when they don't. And then it just becomes super obvious. So, people just being able to talk about things on the internet is not the best. Part of me wants this show to just be about technology. And here are the things I like about technology today, and here are the things I dislike about technology today. And that might have to just become a segment of the show, because I got into this whole thing yesterday around this time about Spotify Wrapped, which is the little product that the app will spit out at you if you are a subscriber to it at the end of the year, and it describes in detail all of your listening habits. Like the thing when they talk about your data is being captured at all times and you're a product and all, it's on display perfectly for you in a pleasant format with Spotify Wrapped. It teaches you that everything you do online is being tracked and that the world knows more about you than you want it to, and it helps explain all the targeted ads you receive and why when you talk about a toaster oven, I'll say it like 6 times. I'll say toaster oven repeatedly, and I will have ads today for toaster ovens. I do love toaster ovens. I don't know necessarily that I'm in the market for one, because we got one for like a shower gift and have used it 5 times, which angers me because I think toaster ovens are far superior to toasters. Think, especially family of 5, make all the bagels, make all the English muffins, make English muffin pizzas all at once, not 2 slices at a time. And I'm not buying a 4-slice toaster, but the 2-slice toaster sits on the counter at all times. The toaster oven, which kicks toasters' asses all over the place, is in a cupboard. And it's got the rotisserie. It's got all the stuff. That should be on the counter. But I lost that battle 16 years ago and have never recovered. Maybe I should claim that thing and bring it downstairs, turn it into a kitchen. I got everything else down here. Got the fridge. I'm not going to bring a stove, but like maybe a toaster oven. Got a fridge. I could have my own, basically an apartment down here. All my entertainment stuff is here, and it would not surprise you at all if you listen to the show or know me that I care a lot about like music and movies and TV and musical instruments. I mean, we've got this basement. It's a playroom, man. First of all, I've got what is essentially a studio. Is it like super top-notch quality? No, but I'm building on it. Pretty good for just a guy in his basement. So I've got a studio where I have produced 120 shows, many of them on video. I've got a 12-foot movie screen with a projector and surround sound, Bose speakers, all that stuff. I've got vinyl albums in a collection, in a case that I made so that it's like a record store and you can flip through them and it's got the letter, little tat. I got that. Got video games coming out of my ears, although I don't play them much. The kids do. There's a drum set now. There are often electric guitars down here. I've got a keyboard or maybe 2 down here, a bunch of microphones. There's a refrigerator. There's a bar. I think maybe the toaster oven should come here. So, all right, that was me just saying toaster oven. Toaster oven is going to appear a bunch in my feed today, I would imagine. Maybe even before the show ends. Although I'm not typically scrolling social media and allowing myself to see toaster oven feeds. But we'll see. Maybe as I'm playing Spotify stuff during breaks, you'll get a toaster oven commercial. I don't know. They still sell toaster ovens, right? They should. They're the best. God, toaster ovens are better. It's not even close. If you're on Team Toaster, get out of my face. Just don't want to hear it. Aside from my wife, she gets to choose because it's her house. She lets me live here. It's nice of her. Technology, toaster. Oh, Spotify captures all your info, spits it back at you in a beautiful manner. It's very attractive, very well designed, certainly by AI. And it's great. But also, it has a devastatingly large amount of information about very specific things. Like, I was reading from this Wrapped thing, and it knows when my birthday is. It tells me all the things I did on my birthday, music-wise, just through its app. But you're telling me it doesn't know where I was either? With a GPS in my phone, it knows. Geo-targeting, all of this stuff. It's crazy. But it's convenient, and we have sacrificed a ton of our convenience, or excuse me, a ton of our privacy, security, whatever, for convenience. And sometimes I like it, and sometimes I don't. I had a conversation about this with a friend yesterday, and I was talking, it was shortly after the show, talking about the Spotify rap thing and how, yeah, I liked it. It told me a bunch of stuff, but I also saw a lot of the things that it got wrong. We're going to trust AI with everything. We might want to slow down. It's not quite there yet. It's getting there. It's getting scary. It's getting better all the time. Better or worse, however you want to put it, but it's getting, the artificial intelligence is becoming more intelligent at all times. And sometimes I think that's great, and sometimes I think that's the worst. And it telling me that I listen to these 5 bands the most is cool. That's fun. And these are the songs I listen to the most. But then you see in there, the podcasts I listen to the most, one of them, it told me that my second favorite podcast is something that I don't remember listening to at all, and I kind of recognize the name of one of the guys that hosts it. So I'm thinking once I listened to it, and then I fell asleep to it, and then it stayed on, and then the world, or Spotify, was like, you know what this guy likes? He likes that podcast, obviously, because he just listened to 7 consecutive episodes of it. Well, he was sleeping. I just forgot to turn it up. That has to be the only explanation. But artificial intelligence, like 3 times in that Spotify rap thing, talked about me having these all night, like I just listened to hip hop all night. Like I never did that. I might have listened to a little bit and then fallen asleep, and then you think I listened for 6 hours, but I didn't listen for 6 hours. It doesn't know the difference. And in bringing this up, the guy I was talking to is like, you know what? Here's where my problem is. Like self-driving cars. It's like, I'm old school. I'm like, well, yeah. I don't trust that. I don't trust a vehicle that somebody could program to drive me into a lake. Or could just decide. It's like, oh, I heard you talking about how much you like, you're fascinated by the ocean. Let's just take you to the bottom of it. Like, we don't need that. I don't need that. So I asked him, I'm like, how do you feel about cruise control? He's like, I love it, but I'm in control. That's right. Me too. I love cruise control. That's my favorite level of AI. That's exactly right. I have not yet had a vehicle that has, like, driver assist and does that kind of stuff. I don't want any of that. There are levels of it. I like warning lights. I like the thing where you're about to switch lanes, or you know what? I've seen this in passing, literally passing a vehicle, and you'll see a light come on their rear view mirror. I guess side view mirror is what you would call it, but the thing on the side of the vehicle. You see the light come on, and that is obviously an alert to the driver. Hey, there's somebody in your blind spot. I like that. That's good. That's helpful. That's an alert. Backup cameras are helpful. The beeping noise when you're in reverse, helpful. The beeping noise when something walks or runs or drives behind your vehicle as you're about to back up, helpful. Letting me know a door is open, letting me know that the tire pressure is low. That's cool. But, like, I wouldn't want it to decide my tire pressure is low and then self-inflate to infinity and then have the blowout. Like, I don't want that. I want it to let me know, and then I'll fix it. Let me know there's somebody next to me. Then I won't drive into them. I'm cool with that. So this led to a whole conversation about turning over our lives to technology, the pros and cons of it, and specifically with self-driving cars. And then I get back, and I'm home, and I come across a video. I'm going to read you real quick, and then I'm just going to put the video on behind myself, and then we'll just do the show with it playing like we did yesterday with the Epstein Island video playing, and like we did today with the dentist scene. I'm going to keep that. That is the most haunting, crazy photo I've ever seen, I think. And I'm going to keep using that on the show because I like that. I like that element. And a little danger to the show with the Epstein dentist chair rubber mask photo that's been uncovered. Good God. Here's what the article says, and then I'm going to put the video behind. Self-driving vehicles caught on camera proceeding past stopped school buses. There's a 4.5-minute video provided by the Austin, Texas Independent School District capturing Waymo autonomous vehicles driving past stopped school buses in 2025, raising fresh safety concerns about the technology. So as we're using, and I'm using AI in some sense in that, I'm letting, I guess a shuffle on Spotify is not it, but whatever. If I'm using Spotify, I'm using AI on some level, and it's helping to pick the music, and it's simplifying things for me, so I don't have to pick every song when I'm trying to take a break or whatever. So I don't think it's all bad. I'm not decrying all use of it. I'm just saying there's some instances where I really don't want it, and one of them is self-driving cars. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to hit play on this video. I'm going to swap this over like that, and now I'm just going to do the show, but in the background you can watch these Waymo vehicles as they just continually drive past school buses. Like these are self-driving cars. You can picture. It's weird with AI because it's not actually thinking, right? But we call it thinking. But what it looks like is, the cars you drive behind where it says, proceed with caution, student driver. Or maybe it just says student driver and proceed with caution is implied. Like, stay away from me. This kid doesn't know at all what he or she is doing, so you're not going to want to be around. Oh, I forgot to hit play. Here, I'll hit play. There we go. Now you can just watch. All right, so what you see, it seems like a dumb guy. It's artificial stupidity is kind of what I'm getting here. It's like this Waymo, that one, just saw a bus, good, but then proceeded to drive past the first stop sign, sat right next to the bus, thought about it for a while, and again, I'm using this right, I can't even say the word. We're assigning in our minds, we're treating it like it's a thing that thinks. It's not a thing that thinks, it's a thing we built. I didn't build it. But these Waymo cars look like the dumb version of AI. Like, just watch what these things are doing. All right, you see the camera on the top, like twitching around, spinning around. And then it just leaves. The stop sign still flashing on the bus. There comes another one. All right, yeah, I'll stop. This kid's running for the bus. They got him blurred out because you can't just put that on TV. It's waiting. That's the same car, same bus, stop sign still going. Oh, there's another Waymo going the wrong way down the street. Sees a truck instead. No, it's another one. I think. I don't know. This kind of looks like a mirror situation. Maybe it is. But again, still flashing. Drives right through. Yeah, it's a different one because the two white cars are not moving. I don't know why two of the same truck were backed up to each other, but I don't completely understand what I'm looking at here, but I do recognize these are cars on the road with no people in them. This technology might be fantastic eventually, but we're not there yet. It reminds me of, I've always wondered this since I was a kid, since I went to Lake Placid. We were camping near there and went and checked out the Olympic site. And I understand how you become a speed skater, a figure skater, a hockey player, a skier. Did I say that? Bobsled, even. Luge seems a little crazy, but that's just sledding. But the one I've never understood is ski jump. Because either you've never ski jumped before or you are good at it. But making the leap from I've never done it to, yeah, I think I'm ready, we'll give it a shot, is crazy to me. And that's kind of what I see here. It's like this isn't right yet. So maybe let's keep them off the road. Like, what happens when Waymo, one of these wild Waymo, this one just drove right, nothing. Didn't notice, sorry, didn't notice the school bus at all. All right, now in Waymo's defense, that truck just did the same thing. But here's Waymo. Waymo pulls out. It sees one stop sign. It parks next to the bus. And it's like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go. But there's that. That was full speed. There's nothing. That one stopped on a corner. This one just comes whipping right around it in some suburban Austin neighborhood. They just don't care. Those shouldn't be on there. As a society, we have approved this. We've approved cars without people in them that stop school buses to just be on the road with people. If a driverless car is approved for the road, what's to stop a 10-year-old from getting a license? Now, I know the law, but what are we doing as a society? I would rather have my son, Zach, who's 13, driving a vehicle from like a overall safety of the roads standpoint. I would rather have Zach driving a car than nobody driving a car. And I get that they're working on it. And I think we'll get there. I think there will be a system in place. But I think back to, 10 years ago, a buddy of mine who's got kids similar ages to mine. He was confident that our kids would never need to learn to drive because these self-driving cars were coming, and they didn't even have to think about it anymore. And we are not there at all. I have a 17-year-old niece or 16-year-old niece who just got her driver's license the other day. She's on the road. I'd rather have her on the road than Waymo vehicles. And this is 10 or maybe even 12 years removed from when I had a conversation with this guy. He's like, our kids aren't going to have to drive. Don't worry about it. They do. They're going to have to drive. I mean, they can take Ubers and things. But this Waymo idea, we're not there yet. I like progress. I'm not all stuffy and, I'm old, but I'm not like, ugh. Like I believe in a lot of it. I like a lot of the tools that are available. I like that I can do a full-on broadcast from my house. Couldn't do that without the massive improvement of technology that has taken place over the course of the last several years. Couldn't possibly do it. But, dude, if Waymos are driving past parked school buses, we need to get Waymos off the road, right? I mean, they would take away my niece's license if we had 4.5 minutes of her and her friends driving past parked school buses. They'd say, oh, all right, shut this down for now. We'll try again in like a year because you're doing it wrong. But with these robot cars, and obviously there is a movement to try to do something about it, but we're just allowing that. You need a license to operate a vehicle, but also a vehicle can operate without you. Aren't we messing this up as a society? It seems like we are. Okay, crossing that off. Waymo school buses in Texas. Cruise control, video 430. Good. All right. There's a little... Oh, sorry. One other thing on the Spotify Wrap thing that I totally forgot to mention. One of the features this year is that it estimates your age based on your musical taste. So it analyzes all the music you listen to and pares it down and says, all right, for me, it said you're 53. Close. I'm 51. I did mention that yesterday. I'm 51. It thinks I'm 53. I take that as a compliment. I think that means I'm a little bit wiser, wise beyond my years. I just got into music earlier. So I really love the stuff from when I really started getting into music, which is like 82, 83. And it probably would have expected me to be more like an 86, 87 is when I get into it. So it missed by a couple years. And I did the math wrong there a little too, but you get what I'm saying. Like that makes sense to me. My musical taste has been, early on, I was a couple years advanced. So now when I'm reaching back and they called me an archivist because I like old stuff, it guessed that I'm 53. That makes sense. My son, Zach, is 13, very into music. He sent me a thing before I even realized that the Spotify Wrap things were out saying, hey, check it out. My top 5 songs are all Beastie Boys songs from Paul's Boutique, 1989. He's born in 2012. And his top 5 songs are all from there. That was his top album, of course. If your top 5 songs are from an album. And I was like, hey, I forgot to ask you, how old does Spotify think you are? What's your guess on how old Spotify thinks Zach is? If you said 53, you're correct. So Spotify thinks that Zach's 53 and I'm 53 based on the fact that Zach, his musical taste is nearly identical to mine. He's got some stuff mixed in there that I don't care that much about. But generally speaking, I hear him upstairs playing guitar all the time or down here playing drums or guitar or whatever. And he's ripping from a Smashing Pumpkins thing, into a Rage Against the Machine thing, into a Nirvana thing, into a Pearl Jam thing, into a Green Day thing. It's like, yeah, okay. He's playing the music from my college days, which I still think he's playing the hip. I still think it's great, but I also recognize that there's some level of your favorite music is from whatever. So that some say when you're 14. But I think it's, when you were having, when I was listening to the most music and having the most fun with people who also like the same music, which explains my Fish obsession. I don't know that I would have come to Fish on my own. It was a school thing. In fact, my freshman year, Fish played at Cool Gym, Kuhl. It was also a cool gym, but it was a Kuhl gym in Geneseo. I could not have lived more than 500 yards from it, and Fish was playing, and I had no interest whatsoever. All I knew of them was the song Fee, which I thought was ridiculous, and I passed on a Fish show on campus that I could have walked to and hung out at with, 2,000 people or whatever the place held. And I passed 1,000. What does a gym like that hold? It's not a lot. A Division III basketball gym, and Fish played, and I didn't go. And then within a year, I was driving from state to state to see their shows. And that's not because I discovered them myself. It's because I was around people who like them, and then you hear it, and you hear it again. You're like, oh, what was that one? I like that one. Ooh, how about this one? And then they go, hey, well, why don't you try that? It's the original Spotify, the original algorithm to discover new music is hanging out with people you like who get a sense of things you like, and then they show you the version of the band that they like that they think you might like, and then it works, and the next thing you know, you're all driving to Cleveland in a snowstorm to see this band perform on the day that John Lennon died and doing a tribute to him with A Day in the Life. Like that all happened within the span of like a year, where I went from no way to, yeah, I'm going to Cleveland, even though I went to Niagara Falls last night to see this same band, even though we've got school. But that's how it happened. So what Spotify is doing is right, but I like the natural feel a little bit better. So there's that. All right, there. I forgot to talk about Zach. Spotify thinks Zach is 53. All right, my new favorite discovery online is an Instagram account called @VHSDates. And I am tempted to just spend the entire show playing the VHS dates. There's another part of me that wants to save that for when Scott is on. Should I play one? I think I want to play one to give you a little idea and to make sure that it's working, because I set it up so that you should be able to see it. Where was it? It was on this one. And then if I turn on that, and then if I open that, there it is. And then if I turn on the volume, all right, so I'm going to put that one. All right, I want you to observe this. Hold on, let me change this. Studio mode. I can make this bigger. We don't need to have too much of the dentist there. All right, if I add audio, I want it to restart, but we'll probably pick it up in the middle. There are currently maybe 48 videos in this. I had to stop myself. It was late last night. I was falling asleep at the computer, setting things up, and then I lay down, and I'm going to go to sleep, but I just wanted to watch like one more of these videos. They remind me very much of the movie Singles. Singles is based a lot around this video dating. This is, for those of you way younger, this is Tinder before Tinder. You would make a video recording of yourself talking about yourself, talking about what you like, what you don't like, what you're looking for in a partner, what you hope they'll provide, what you hope you'll provide. You try to make yourself seem fun and entertaining, and then you're looking for a match. They used to use people before AI. I mean, Match.com is, farmers only. Like the stuff from 15 years ago, 20 years ago. That was AI, right? I mean, there wasn't somebody going, I think this farmer will like that farmer. It's algorithms. But we didn't used to have algorithms. We used to have videotapes. And so I never did this. This predates me, too, by a little. But I remember it being in society. It was more like an adult-y thing. I was a kid. You don't need video dating when you're in college and high school and stuff. Or when you're a talk radio producer as a 24-year-old making minimum wage at a sports talk radio station. Things just kind of fall into place. And you got that kind of clout. But back then, you'd make a video, you'd send in the video, and then a bunch of women send in videos. Let's just assume heterosexual relationship here just for the purpose of argument. I'm sure there were specific lanes for dudes to meet dudes and girls to meet girls. But generally speaking, guys send in videos, girls send in videos, and then I think you would go in and consult with somebody, with some matchmaker, and they would show you the videos that they thought. This is like manual AI. All right, you send this, I process it, I tell you, I think you'll like these 5. And then you come in, you sit down, you watch the videos. Every one of these videos is incredible. Everyone is better than the last one. So I am going to, there are only 48 of them. I'm not going to just do this all the time, but I'm starting with the first one that was posted on the account, and I'm going to use them if the sound works and it plays as well as I think it will. But just to give you an idea of what these things looked and sounded like. I'm going to remove that. And do we turn this up? There we go.
My friend Barbara. Barbara's my best friend.
All right, I have to turn off there's some other noise coming through. I almost have it. This is, again, the problem with being a one-man band. I want this to switch to this. I want that to go to that. Okay. Then I can mess with this one again. This worked last night, but I can't have everything ready at the same time, and it'll be fine. We'll get this to go. Properties on this. This is worth it. It's an important part of this. Just to know that this is in fact worth it. And where did it go? It went away. That's awesome. All right. I'm not going to do this right now. Damn it. We were so close. I just killed it somehow. It should be on here. And then I do this one. This. You guys understand that it's okay, right? It's okay to have these little down moments. It can't be 100 miles an hour all the time and be good. I can go 100 miles an hour, but it goes to nowhere. Or I can try to make these things work. All right, if I have this open, okay, there she is. And then I add the audio to it.
I like my family's fine.
Okay, there's still other audio playing, and I don't know where it's coming from. That's the problem. Hang on. I'm going to close everything I'm not using. It'll be worth it. There's a payoff. It's fine. Talk amongst yourselves. Use the chat. We got the chat going on YouTube today. That I'm actually, I looked at it right before, and I'll look at it during the break. And I'll glance at it at times, but not while I'm trying to come up with this. Where is that audio coming from? What is happening? Do I have a second set of Chrome things open? No. I have the Spotify one. Oh, that does have a bunch of stuff. All right. Where's that audio?
This is all under the One Big Beautiful Bill.
All right. One Big Beautiful Bill. So probably this Trump thing. Yeah. All right. If I pause that. Now there's no audio. Okay. All right. We're getting somewhere. Now I go back to the Instagram thing. Now we switch over to this feed. Okay. Now we add audio.
Get out of here. What am I, dating a Marine? I want a little guy. I want a small little guy. Someone who I can bring home to my parents and they like him and see, okay, that's a guy. I have a best friend. Her name is Barbara. I hang out with her a lot. Hey, guys out there. My best qualities are I love rats. I love pizza. Don't tell me what to do. A guy that I want is a guy who likes hugging more than kissing. Group dates sound good. I can bring my friend Barbara. Barbara's my best friend. I love impressions. Hey, who am I? I do not want a family. I like my family is fine. They're funny. They don't touch me a lot. I don't want big muscles. Get out of here. What am I, dating a Marine? I want a little guy. I want a small little guy. Someone who I can bring home to my parents and they like him and see, okay, that's a guy. I have a best friend. Her name is Barbara. I hang out with her a lot.
All right, that's the end of the first one.
Oh, you see, the first date, man, I don't know, it's ice skating, some ice cream, on icy, we can go roller skating. I am rollerblading in my country. I mean, I rollerblade, pero first place, todo el tiempo first place. Pero yeah, I'm good rollerblader también. I like it kissing in public, at the restaurant. A lot of people don't like it kissing, or no more, right? Me love it. Me love the kissing. Exchange student, my country, named Tiffany. Tiffany told me at a French kiss. I'm just looking for a woman who, a good boy like me, Cause I working out all the time. Yeah, I fell in love one time, but she broke my heart. It's life. Otro pinche question, cabrón.
What did your mom teach you about love?
Excuse me? Oh, you see, the first date,
All right, so that's
Honestly,
one more.
I need a girl with some style, someone that can go around town. Well, I play bass, trying to learn the keyboards, man, but it's tough, going like that. Well, I'm in between bands right now. I was a part of a power slop trio, but, we didn't do so good. My best qualities, I'm starting my 9th semester at community college soon. I believe firmly the key to a good relationship, man, is just whenever you get into a fight or whenever you don't agree with something, just bail, man. It sounds corny. I know, I'm a romantic. Do I want to have kids? Yeah, I think that could be fun, man. As long as the wife and kids are okay with me out drinking and partying and rock and rolling all night, just every night, and then, working about 1 or 2 days a week. As long as that happens, man, I can't wait to meet you.
All right. I want to do something else. I don't know what else to do with it, but I needed to share it. That was what made me laugh as I was going to sleep last night. I had to stop because there's 48 of them or something, and we've watched 3. And over the course of our lifetimes here, we're going to watch all of those. I'm just working my way up from the oldest to the newest. But my God, thanks to my buddy Chris, I think it was Chris, yeah, who introduced it to our group chat yesterday. Some tremendous content at VHS Dates on Instagram. But you don't have to follow it because I'm just going to show those. All right, it's timeout. Scott Wilson's going to join me soon. One downside here of, you know what I could do? Can I mute this? Probably not. I was going to say, one downside of relying on Spotify to play the music during the break is that ads pop up on occasion, and I can't skip them. So I'm just going to hit play on this thing, take a break. We'll be back with Scott Wilson, our good friend Scott Wilson, and we will discuss the controversial Victor Snow play from the UB game the other day. If you've been on X/Twitter, things kind of heated up. Oh, I'm showing the wrong. I'm sorry, I've got that going. You can't see my face or my hat from Store 716. What was the point? What was the point I was trying to make? The Victor Snow. Victor Snow caught a pass and looked like he was gone. And he's super fast, but he was kind of twisted. And he looked and he stepped out of bounds. And then the Bulls scored like 5 plays later, scored a touchdown. But the internet being what it is, the video of that has been captured. And people are like, what is this? Gambling's crooked. He should go to jail. And like, no, it's Vic. He's one of the best players on the team. He's first team All-MAC. He's awesome. They would have lost 3 more games without his massive contributions, his game-winning touchdowns he caught all year. And yeah, I get that that's not an argument that somebody couldn't throw a game or throw us up. But dude, he just stepped out of bounds. He made a mistake. They scored 5 plays later. It was fine. But Scott had a pretty strong reaction to it, and I said, I think we'll talk about that on the show tomorrow. And honestly, before he even texted me about it, I had written down Scott Wilson, Victor Snow for the 11 o'clock segment. So we'll get to that. Hopefully I'll have the video to show you. You'll be able to see it. If not, just look for it yourself. If you go on Twitter and just look for Victor Snow, you'll find it. UB Bulls wide receiver. We'll get to that in just a moment. All right, I'm going to take a break. There might be some actual commercials here because of Spotify, but you'll be fine. You can handle it if you've seen commercials before. I'll be back in just a few. I'm Brad, and it's Riter Radio.
Let's check in with Riter Radio's senior football correspondent, Scott Wilson.
All right, let's do that. Let's check in with our good friend Scott Wilson for the second time this week. Senior football correspondent, senior Hallmark correspondent. We did a lot of Hallmark on Monday. It seems like we'll do some football today. On the screen right now, you'll see me live. You'll see the cartoon version of Scott, and you'll see a loop of the Victor Snow. Bulls wide receiver Victor Snow caught a 58-yard pass. Wound up out of bounds at around the 21, 22-yard line. And just yesterday, out of nowhere, this became a controversial play online. Scott was fired up. I was fired up. I knew that it would be fun to talk with Scott about it today. Scott, are you still fired up?
Yeah, I'm fired up there. I've got, first of all, it's been 3 days since we spoke. And I've not even that. We did we did the UB podcast in there before this all broke, or else we would have addressed it there too. But I've got like 11 things that I'm fired up about, and this is top of the list. So I'm glad that we're starting here. We talked a little bit a couple months ago when all of the basketball gambling stuff was breaking about Terry Rozier, and then it was also at the same time that Emmanuel Clase from the Indians or the Guardians scandal that was kind of breaking at the same time. And I said, leagues and people have to get this straightened out very soon, or else people are going to stop watching and they're going to lose interest, because anytime something happens, they're going to assume that there's a negative outcome with it. And now here we are talking about this play, and it's just assumed because of the actions of a couple of other people, and really nothing has happened because of it other than, yes, there's charges, but there hasn't been any reaction from any league as far as any of this is concerned, or what they're going to do to address it. And it's an innocent kid who made a bad play, but is now being painted in light of he's obviously in someone's pocket, and this play was a result of that. And this is what I was warning about. It's ridiculous. If you're watching a 15-second clip from the outside, of course you're going to think, what a bad play, oh, whatever. But now, because of all the legal gambling, it takes on this entirely different, nefarious type of connotation. It's ridiculous. It's unwarranted, but it's where we are. And until these leagues step up, and that includes college football in general, which I would assume at this point, with no major centralized governing body like the other professional sports leagues would have, this might have to be done by a Congress or something like that, or even by the individual states that legalize the gambling and allow it to happen. The prop bets have to go. The individualized, if you want to say team prop bets, you can do fine. Will the Sabres have more than 3 assists in a game? Fine. Will a certain player have more than 1 assist in a game? Has to go, because that's really the long and short of where all this is coming from. In this specific situation for the Bulls, I'm a resident of New York. I live here in New York. I do have an account with a betting service, and I have placed bets before in the past. Living here in New York, you're not able to place bets on a college team that is based here in New York. I cannot bet a Syracuse basketball game. I cannot bet a UB football game. I cannot bet a UB basketball game. I can't bet on St. John's. I can't get in on Siena action. I can't get on if I know a hot tip about Binghamton. I can't get in on that. It's not even available. So I don't know where a lot of this is even coming from. On top of that, even through the services, I know the one I use, Caesars. I don't know if there's, even outside of the state of New York, if there's an avenue to bet Victor Snow totals.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I've never seen it for college. I'm trying to look right now, but I'm trying to also not jeopardize the screen looking the way that it is. So I'm off on another screen.
The integrity of the screen, please.
Well, I've got to do that, and then I've also got the like you're on the phone. That's where I know I could get into FanDuel. I have trouble getting into FanDuel on the computer. I'm going to look right now and see if for an upcoming college football game, if I can bet props, because I feel like not only were the people commenting online like completely unaware of the situation. We'll get into the explanation of what actually happened on that play, because when it happened, I mean, we're calling the game. So this hits us personally. Like, we know that guy. We know what the season would have been without him. We know what it was because of him. We know that he's an all-MAC first-team receiver. He's an all-MAC second-team punt returner. He caught multiple game-winning touchdowns in the last minute of games to put things away. And also, if you're trying to tank something, why would you have a 58-yard reception and then step out of bounds? Why wouldn't you just drop the ball? There's all that. I forget where I was even trying to go with it. I lost my train of thought because I'm fired up about it too. It's such garbage. No, I lost it again. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You talk. You're better at this than I am. God.
There's multiple levels to this, and it might even be different this week because there's only 8 college football games going on this weekend.
Oh, so I remember what I was going to say, and I'm going to jump back in, and I'm sorry. People are judging this thing on 15 seconds, and then it's, reactionary culture online, of course, that's what we do. But there are these mechanisms behind pushing for clicks. So Bleacher Report, I think, was the first one to put out this thing, and then Barstool picks up on it. And then there are all these arguments going on underneath. Barstool's like, this is weird, huh? We did the game. We're like, that's weird. Vic is better than that. What just happened? But then you watch it, and you can see he kind of looks over his shoulder, and clearly I said... I went back and listened to our broadcast because if I had evidence of me saying it, I was going to use it on the show. The play happened. Paul says, great play. Oh, he lost his balance and stepped out of bounds. That's what he said in the moment. It just looked weird. We knew it looked weird. And then you said, yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like, maybe he thought the guy had a better angle on him than he did. Upon further review, we've talked to people over there who've talked to him, and we know his story on what happened on the play, and the story checks out. It fits with exactly what I'm watching there. But people feel the need to comment immediately after watching a 15-second clip without having any context and then just jump in, and then it just builds on itself because, that play looks weird. And if the context makes sense, if the Bulls were down, whatever, none of it fit. They scored 5 plays later. I watched as the Barstool thing was put out on Twitter, and then some account like We Tell the Truth type of account was like, look even further. This led to a long field goal attempt that was missed. I was like, no, it didn't. But you put the word truth in the name of your account. Like, people are just lying to you online, and we're all susceptible to, you see the play like, wow, that's weird. And that's the kind of thing where I would text you and be like, hey, this is weird, isn't it? And then we'd have a conversation about it. I wouldn't jump in if that's a UNLV game where I don't know the context and I didn't call the game with my friends, with guys that I know playing. I think I would view it differently. But even then, I wouldn't jump into a public conversation where I'm suggesting that the FBI investigate Victor Snow or that he should be kicked out of college football or any of that stuff would happen. I'd have a reasonable conversation. But we've gotten to a point in America where this is what we do. That's the discourse. Let's take a headline. Let's take a 10-second clip. Let's form entire opinions around it, and then let's argue online. And it's absurd. Okay, that was what I wanted to say. Now you can go.
No, I've always thought that, when the betting, I thought more about it recently because of the recent events that have happened with around the prop betting and stuff. And I've always thought we need to get rid of it as a way to prevent anything bad from soiling the game and the actual product. And now I'm adding to that I have doubled my belief in it, because I'm seeing somebody that I don't know him personally. It's not like I'm good friends with Victor Snow, but I know him. I have.
Then why did you guys
met
go?
him?
Why did you guys go see Zootopia 2 together?
We did not. We did not see Zootopia. That is not true. Now it's going to be out on truth sites that I am a Zootopia lover. Plus, I go with Victor.
You know how we know? I think that movie comes out today anyway, so it would be too early for you to have seen it with him.
But that truth wouldn't matter.
No, it doesn't. Nothing matters.
No one would look that up. It's because I'm seeing somebody get smeared about it, and it's completely ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Victor Snow, on the offensive side of the football, non-big man in the trenches, because those dudes are warriors, and there are a lot of guys in the history that I've covered. We're talking O'Hagan's, Trevor Sales, those type of guys that are warriors up there, playing through pain, playing through injuries. I'm talking offensive skill position. I think Victor Snow is probably the toughest guy in my 15 years of covering. He's the smallest guy on the field. He is always on the field. We're not just talking about the fact that he's one of the best punt returners and kick returners in the league. He's also on the coverage teams. Like, he's got, if you look at the defensive stats, he's got plenty of tackles this year. He also has the most touchdowns on the team. He will take handoffs. He runs the ball. He's got rushing touchdowns. He will jump up in the middle of the field and get crunched by three guys and go up to make the play. To think that this guy is getting in any way smeared about this play, or having it in any way reflect upon what he has done at UB, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There is no more team first guy than Victor Snow. Do you need me to play gunner? Gotcha. I'm in. There's not a lot of guys that would lead a team in touchdowns and then also volunteer to go make tackles. It's rare. This dude lays his body on the line every week. He will make tough catches. He does not care about damage to his own body. He just wants to win and make plays. And guess what? He does. Who scored the game-winning touchdown last year in triple coverage against a top 25 team? It was Victor Snow, giving up 4 inches to every other guy around him that was covering him, still winning and getting the ball and scoring the touchdown. That was, well, I guess it wasn't game winning. It tied the game, and then eventually the field goal was in overtime. But you know what I mean. It was the major play in that game. This team this year might have only won 2 games if Victor Snow wasn't on that team. Period. He's that good and that important to the team. And someone's going to take a 15-second clip of him, and I will admit this, making a bad play, making a poor decision, and judging what was going on around him, is utterly ridiculous. And it's not fair to him. It's not fair to him. We have been there. I have seen, and you have seen, literally every snap this young man has taken in blue and white. And everyone deserves respect. And everyone has been filled with effort, and he has gone full tilt every time. I have never left a game saying, I felt Victor Snow left a little something out on the field today. Not true.
I don't even remember.
That's not true.
Thinking, like, we think things about, like, drops with, like, Nick McMillan had a great year, but there were a couple games this year where, like, man, a couple of drops by McMillan. I don't remember ever thinking a negative thing about Victor Snow ever. Not once. This was him.
This is him making mistakes. So let me go through exactly what you can see in the video if you're actually looking, what we have kind of learned through conversations, and what actually happened. Okay? The throw goes up. He's in that area between the corner and the safety. If we're being honest, The real reason that wasn't a touchdown is because the ball was poorly thrown and it was underthrown. So he's got to slow down, backpedal, turn around, and catch the ball. If the ball was out in front of him, he scores with 20 yards in front. But instead, it was a windy day in Roberson's defense. Still not a good throw. He still makes the catch.
It's a good enough throw. It's a 58-yard play. Let's not talk about this like it's a tank, like it's a fumble on purpose.
No, but I'm saying the biggest reason why that's not a touchdown is because of the throw.
Of course.
Not him, whatever. Okay. So he adjusts to it. Now he's got to flip around. He has slowed himself down, and now he knows that there are two players bearing down on him. He turns it. He turns towards the end zone and towards the end of the field. The end of the field that he's running towards is the new scoreboard, which, by the way, plays a role in this. The old scoreboard he would have never looked at because he wouldn't be able to clearly see anything, so he would have never bothered.
Right.
Now the scoreboard looks awesome, and it's big, and it's clear, so he looked up. He catches the ball. He turns around. He knows that there's two defenders coming in. He looks up at the scoreboard to see what's happening. That's obviously anything that you're going to see up there is going to be a half second late. And it's also going to be kind of skewed vision-wise as far as where the players are. Another thing in this, I don't know exactly what angle they had up on the scoreboard, but it's very probable that they used an end zone camera to put up on the scoreboard once the catch is made, because where he makes the catch, he would be running directly into where that end zone camera is. The end zone camera on that end of the field is not directly behind the goalpost. It is offset to the side between the numbers and the hash. So when he's looking, if he looks up at the board at that moment and sees that angle, he's actually looking at an angle straight ahead of him, which is going to make everybody look like they're right on top of him. So he sees that. He knows that the ball right now is on the inside hand. It is not towards the sideline. So the ball is still in danger of being stripped away. And if he thinks that the players are there and he knows that by his head, these guys are bearing down, they're about to tackle me, the ball is in danger, I can, which is a play that we've seen numerous times this year from the Bulls, try to do something and make something out of nothing and fumble the football possibly. Or I can take a step out of bounds because they're going to tackle me and keep the ball safe. We're going to take 58 yards and be fine. So you can actually see him move his arm in closer towards the sidelines because he thinks the player is right there. And then he goes to the sidelines and takes a step out. Is it a good play? No. Should he have looked over his shoulder and physically seen the players there? Yeah, probably. I bet you he wishes that he did that. After the play, even Nick McMillan's like, bro, you didn't have to step out. And there's been a couple of tweets out there like, oh, he wasn't even upset about it. If you look at the end, he's looking to give the ball to. And as he's doing that, he looks around and sees where the defenders and where everybody actually was. And you can see him kind of drop his hands in his head like, oh, man, I didn't have to go out of bounds. And he does look upset and disappointed. You mean to tell me the guy that leads the team in tackles was going to willingly pass on getting another touchdown? It's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous, and it's unfair to the best offensive weapon that the Bulls have had in 2 seasons now. I thought he was probably last year. He was the most dangerous player. And this year, you can't argue with the numbers. I know Nick McMillan had a really nice MAC, and he's ramping up. Coming back from the injury, he has, without a doubt, been a viable, him and Snow 1-1A, however you want to arrange that. But still, the longevity is Victor Snow. Scoring a touchdown every game is cool. And I feel for him. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to the program. That's not the type of situation or program that is run there, where something like this would happen. If it was, I don't think we'd be associated with it. That's not what goes on there. And it's not fair to him. It's not fair to Victor Snow. The dude is tough as nails. And he made one bad play that is a 15-second clip now taken completely out of context, being judged by people that don't know where the camera position would be in that stadium. But someone, a nerd like me, who's seen over 100 games in that stadium, could, I can tell you where everything is in that thing. I can tell you where the wind direction goes. And how it differs between the side. I've been there. I've been on the field. I know everything about it. So I can tell you what was going on in that situation, and it's not what they are saying.
Well,
and
let's make
very frustrating and completely unfair.
Let's make an assumption that he, while running full speed, which is very fast, down the sideline with the ball, after having to spin to make the catch and turn to try to get away, and he is looking at the scoreboard, and he has told people we know that he was looking at the scoreboard and misjudged it. Let's assume the angle he's getting is the one we're getting. It's likely the TV feed. So he's not seeing the exact thing from directly behind him. He doesn't have an end zone view of himself. He has the view that we have and has to make a split decision. I also see him glance over his shoulder to check how close the guy is as he's stepping out of bounds. And you can almost see him go, in that moment, like, I messed that up. But good news, we're at the 21-yard line, and we're going to score in 5 plays, and everything is fine. Everything's on track, and we're going to pull to within one score. They ended up missing the 2-point conversion there, but that's not really the point. Other things to, like holes to fill in here. I went on FanDuel. It did let me log in. I went to the first college football game that's available, and if you open up an NFL game, it is not, I shouldn't say nothing but it is absolutely loaded with player props. The passing yards for this guy and receptions for this guy and who scores the first touchdown and whatever. I opened up Troy at James Madison, which is the first one on here. The choices are alternate spread, alternate total points, JMU total yards, Troy total yards, total receiving yards, first drive result, first half winner, first half spread, first half total, first, second, third quarter spread. The point I'm making here is I'm almost to the bottom. There's no such thing as the individual player props. I thought this was true, but I've never looked for it in college football. It doesn't exist. So there are so many holes. It's so easy as a society, and you want to make it about Victor Snow and about the Bulls and about his integrity and their integrity, and I respect that and appreciate that. In addition to that, I would like to add on the part about we as a society need to stop with this instant knee-jerk reaction. I'll argue about everything and anything. And I understand because I've read other headlines and seen other 10-second clips. Like, if you are fully qualified to discuss this, your name is Scott Wilson, or Victor Snow, or maybe me.
Or you or Paul.
Or maybe Paul. But you in particular. You know the game, you know the people involved, you know the situation, you know the setting, you know about the scoreboard, you know about the potential crazy angle of the scoreboard, you know Victor Snow giving an explanation that says, I was looking at the scoreboard. You know the most famous looking at the scoreboard thing? Remember Isaac Bruce in the Super Bowl? Where he was streaking down the sideline, and it clearly showed him glancing up, watching himself, checking where the defender was, because there's video of it, so you can look and see it. And it worked out for him because he looked and saw that there was no way he was being caught, and he just kept going. But there is a famous video, and if I could find it, I'd put it up, where his eyes go from looking straight forward to glancing up as he's running down the sideline. And it's a tool that can be used by a player to estimate. I was talking earlier about Waymo and how they're driving past school buses now, and we have these driverless cars that are creating more problems than if you let a 10-year-old drive a car. The technology is there. We're using it. He used the rearview mirror, and objects are closer than they appear, or in this case, maybe vice versa. But it's not a direct, perfect system to know where somebody is. So he's in the moment. He's like, hey, I can look up there and see what's going on. Ooh, this guy looks close. Ooh, the ball's in the right hand. I'm going to tuck it. I'm going to take a step this way and live to fight another day. After, as you said, multiple times this year, going for that extra yard has led to disaster. If he thinks there's a chance that this ball's about to be punched out and loose at the 3-yard line instead of him stepping out of bounds at the 20-yard line, the right decision in that split second might be what he did, which is why I'm slightly offended by you repeatedly calling it a bad play. I will say he misjudged it. He made a mistake, and I know you don't mean bad play. I'm not trying to accuse you of anything, but I keep hearing the word bad play, bad play. It wasn't a bad play. It was a great play and a slight miscalculation at the end of it that led to 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line, as opposed to potentially the ball loose and your comeback attempt is thwarted and all of that. So all of these things combine to make the conversation about something people don't know. People want to argue about things they don't understand all the time. And my point would be, hey, we'd be a better society if we stopped doing that.
Yeah, and by the way, I did see a I did see a video of one of those driverless cars. There was a police shootout.
Okay. Oh, the one that showed up at a crime scene.
Yeah, it was like a crime scene, and then you just slowly see this driverless car with these people in the back seat scared to death. It just slowly rolls through like the police station area and continues down the street, and there's like a guy being arrested on the ground. It was hilarious.
I think that is what led to my conversation yesterday about the problems with driverless cars. And then I come home, and then at night I see the thing about these. Austin, Texas, they've got a 4.5-minute video of Waymos being very confused by school buses and like driving past the first stop sign and sitting right next to it and waiting, and then just driving away anyway. And it just looks like artificial stupidity as opposed to intelligence is in play. And I don't know. I think maybe we should look into this thing where we really rigorously test people to have a license to drive a car, but we are also allowing cars without anyone in them to be driven, and I think we maybe should look into that.
I have been saying this for years now. I think that there should be a ban on any driverless vehicle. There should not be a driverless vehicle, especially. I know that the big thing is trucks. That's the next thing that they'd like to do is
for shipping.
They'd like to have. Yeah, for shipping purposes. And I'm going to say right now, there's the one thing I don't want is to give this BS technology that doesn't work like another 100 tons to deal with. Plus, I don't think it's good for the economy. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to a truck stop, but I would love to see those guys that are there not just be at home with nothing to do.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, these guys need jobs.
Yep.
We need to keep these guys busy.
And keep them moving. Keep them rolling through the town instead of stopping there.
That's right.
Not
That's
all
right.
of them.
There's
not my friend Carl.
All.
Not Carl. Carl's good. Carl's good people.
Well, but, still.
Wait, no, you're saying you don't like Carl?
Eliminate those jobs. There's no need to eliminate those jobs. They're good jobs. They're doing it. Now, this is way off topic.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I started my show talking about Waymo, and now we're back to talking about Waymo.
It's just
big picture, man. Think big picture.
I hate that this has happened for Victor Snow, because now it's like, you see 15 seconds and it's like, how about if I put like 9 minutes of tape of him dominating people for the past 2 seasons?
That sounds like a job for the UB communications department. Not you, John, but somebody over there. Do that. Put up, like, today is the day, if I'm in that department, that I'm putting together a Victor Snow highlight reel celebrating his being named to the All-MAC team twice this season. First team as receiver, second team as punt returner. That I would just make sure that gets out there.
It's
give Vic something to retweet.
He's the guy that returned the first punt for a touchdown in 10 years. He's
right.
He's the number one punt return yardage guy in the FBS. He's not overall at school history, but since they returned and they are, Division I play there in that 99-2000 era, he's number one in punt return yardage.
He's the player that other teams always have that we always want and we never had before. Now we have him.
Right. Yeah. He's the walk-on that came back to Western New York and earned his spot and has become one of the most valuable pieces of the team the last 2 years, and one of the most valuable pieces and versatile pieces that the Bulls have ever had on offense, ever. So, that's what we should be talking about. We should, honestly, he's being talked about like this. The conversation should be, I hope we can keep Victor Snow.
Right.
Because, I don't know a team in America that wouldn't be better because he's on it offensively or even special teams wise. So the fact that he's here is a blessing. And, I tweeted about it. I stood up for him. I hope that he knows that we've certainly got his back.
He does. He retweeted it. He retweeted what you tweeted. I saw that last night. So he knows.
It's this. This is just it's just ridiculous. I hate it. It
Counterpoint.
just is very upsetting.
Counterpoint. Might this be a way that his name is out there to the point where he gets more attention next year, and it could help him to propel his career further beyond next year, which will be his final year in college football? He's very small, but he's also he was anonymous to the world of college football outside of the MAC, or teams that have been beaten by him. And what's up with that guy? People
wasn't Danny Woodhead small? I mean,
yeah.
If you're good, a good team will find a way to use you in football. I think that's one of the things that not just me, but I think America likes, is it's one of the very few places left in our society that really cuts through the BS. There's no nothing. You can either play and you play, or you can't and you don't.
Meritocracy.
It's really a meritocracy. And when you look at even in the NFL, I think it's interesting that as a country we are so anti-socialism, but the best sport, the most popular sport by leaps and bounds, is the one based solely on making sure everybody is on equal footing. And they love it. Everybody loves it. But those same principles are things that they don't want in their everyday. All right, I don't want to get into that, but
You did. It's all right.
The team that comes in last gets to pick first, and that's a principle that, as a country, we have rejected for everywhere else in our lives, except for the NFL, which is the most popular
and the most
in part
successful
and the most successful in part because the team that is last gets to pick first. But I hate that this is even remotely associated with his name, because it's not fair.
What, socialism?
It's not fair. No, just this play in general being anything negative. It's ridiculous. There's, as far as, and just as a fan, can we talk about boneheaded plays that make me upset?
Yes.
It's like number one would be when a guy drops the ball before crossing the goal line. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
This wouldn't even be remotely close to, I cannot believe this guy just did that. This is so far from that, just in general.
No, this
but
was,
yeah,
here's how you react to that play the proper way. You go like this. Damn it. All right, first down. That's the right reaction. To the
right.
play.
Which is basically what we did. Like, we all said, like,
That was
"Ooh, I'm
weird.
not really sure why he scored there." We see the replay. We say, I think you probably just thought these guys were closer than they were, and he protected the ball, got out of bounds. They scored a couple plays later. Like, it's ridiculous. But again, there's no context to 15 seconds. You don't see that Shelton got a couple of carries, and then Roberson runs it in for a touchdown, like, within the next 45 seconds of the game. So
that whole drive, I think, was 53 yards.
Point. Like, it's right. It's like it still ends up as the key play of the scoring drive.
I shouldn't say 53 yards. 53 seconds. I think that whole drive was 53 seconds long.
So
all right.
it is that's it. That's the frustration. If you see it out there, folks, it's nonsense. All right, I'll say this. I know that you've done a lot of food challenges. I'll throw this out there.
I've done 2 food challenges. You made me do them.
If this is proven to be true,
But he did that on purpose? Like, there's a nefarious element to it?
If there's a nefarious element to this that is proven, I'll go to midfield at UB Stadium and I'll let someone tase me.
Okay. All right.
How about that? That's how confident I am in Victor Snow.
How about me suddenly rooting for Victor Snow to be implicated in some?
No.
Can we just come up with other reasons for you to be tased at midfield? Because if this is, I like how you think. I like that that's what you just jumped to. Like, when we're challenging me, it's like, eat these pistachios, eat these donuts. You're just like, I'm going to go to midfield and get tased. That's a different level, man.
Well, I could say shave my head, but I got nothing left anyway. That's not really a punishment.
No, that wouldn't do it.
I don't want to lose my eyebrows or something like that. That's tough.
These are the things you're thinking. See, these thoughts don't even cross my head. cross my mind, cross my head. That's not a weird way to put it. It doesn't occur to me to ever talk about being tased or shaving my head or my eyebrow. I mean, none of that crosses my mind. And this is how you think. I like it.
The largest donor to like an NIL fundraiser that we will do for this, if this is proven, will get to tase me in midfield.
That's fantastic. Right.
That's how confident I am that I won't have to do that.
Yeah, it's not going to happen because he didn't do anything wrong. He stepped out of bounds, then they scored, and it was fine. And I hope he's back next year. I hope he's back. I hope McMillan's back.
Me too.
It's going to be tough to keep them both.
I hope they find a way that he doesn't leave. He just is here.
Yeah. Well,
I hope he plays for 15 years for the Bulls.
He's not going to do that, but he can play one more, and so can McMillan. But they need to, keep recruiting these guys. McMillan obviously has more size, but the fact that the Bulls have 2 first-team All-MAC receivers really justifies a lot of the things that we've been thinking and saying about this team, especially those guys in particular, the receiving core that by the end of the year, like, this might be the best receiving core this team has ever had. And didn't necessarily they didn't have Tyree Jackson to work with, but they were incredible. And to see them both land as first team All-MAC is fantastic. Credit to both of them and to us for not. It's not just a homer like, oh my God, look how great this guy. Like, no, these are the best players in the conference, and we had 2 of them on the field most plays, which was awesome.
So the other day was signing day in college football. I came across this list, and it's players that signed in 2026 for the 2026 class, which would be this one just now. And I'm ready to make you feel old.
Okay.
Because you will know all of their dads.
A lot of juniors. Oh boy.
Yeah. How about quarterback Cole Leinart?
Oh my God. No.
He's going to SMU.
Oh, that's early. That's too early. That's too soon.
Wide receiver Chris Henry is going to Ohio State.
Another Chris Henry? His dad is
Chris Henry. Yep.
Yeah.
Wide receiver Devin Fitzgerald.
Larry's kid?
Larry's kid.
Oh, my God.
He's going to Notre Dame.
Larry's about to go in the Hall of Fame. So I guess it's been a while. He'll be 5 years out of the league, but good God. Okay.
Wide receiver Caden Findlay. His dad is Jermichael.
Oh, my God.
Thomas Davis Jr. is a linebacker.
Okay.
His dad is Thomas Davis Sr.
Right.
Those 3 guys, Finley, Fitzgerald, and Davis, all going to Notre Dame.
Wow.
So Notre Dame really raking in the legacies. And then wide receiver Dalen Sharper is going to Stanford. Father Darren.
Wow. That's
a
lot.
Shout out to all the old people out there now that are seeing the players that they watched growing up have their kids go to school and now gonna get to watch them. Are you familiar with the other major story right now? Well, I guess one of the 2 other major stories coming out of signing day in college football. One would be Penn State having like the 130th ranked class in the nation.
Well, you prepared me for that going into it, that without a coach, it's kind of tough to deal with signing day.
Right. Well, they still don't have a coach. They keep offering it to everybody, and everybody keeps saying no. The name most recently that I've been hearing is Matt Campbell from Iowa State, who is a former guy that we had run-ins with in his time at Toledo. And I've seen Brian Dable's name thrown out there. I know we joked about it after Dable got fired that the first time out in public he was wearing a Penn State hoodie. Like, oh, okay. So his name is kind of being bandied about as well, but they have offered this thing to everybody. And everybody has said no, except for Kalani Sitake out at BYU, who said, okay. And then a BYU booster who runs Crumble Cookies comes in and says, I guess I have to throw some money here because I like our coach. I want to keep him. And now he's staying at BYU because a cookie magnate threw some money in there for the Mormon church to keep him. So, again, Penn State offering it to everybody. Nobody wants that job, apparently. And their recruiting has suffered not only low numbers, but a lot of flips, guys leaving with the uncertainty there. The other one, and I'm not sure if you've heard this, There's a quarterback. There's a 5-star quarterback by the name of Legend Bay, who is in Texas. And his original recruitment was he was going to go to Tennessee. And then a couple of months ago, went up to Ohio State, had a visit there, fell in love with Ohio State, said, I'm sorry, I'm flipping. I'm going to be a Buckeye. So the time comes this week where his high school is doing one of those signing day things where they've got the kids going to schools and they've got like a banner up and who's going where, and
3 hats on the table. That's fun.
Yeah, he's posted on social media like going to be a Buckeye, and shout out to Ryan Day, and they've got the Ohio State stuff up there. Well, this is part of the glorious college football family aspect that comes up there. He doesn't send in his letter of intent to Ohio State. So everybody's kind of saying, what's going on, because a school cannot say a recruit's name until they get that letter in, until they receive the fax. We've been there, by the way.
Yeah, we've been in that room.
Yeah, until the fax comes in or the email comes in where it's a signed letter of intent, a school can't put out towards media or in any outward way a name of a guy. Well, this guy didn't have his name put out, so people started asking questions, and the letter of intent hadn't been sent in yet. And come to find out, all of a sudden, he is a Tennessee Volunteer. Well, I guess the backstory is this young man can't legally sign a letter of intent because he's only 17 years old without the signature of a parent.
Oh.
And mom did not want him to go to Ohio State. Mom wanted him to go to Tennessee. So the rest of the family got behind mom, and mom said, I'm not signing for you to go to Ohio State. I will only sign if you go to Tennessee. So now there he is on signing day, basically being forced by his mother, because of his age, to go and be a Tennessee Volunteer. And lo and behold, Tennessee put out the graphic, and they have the letter of intent signed by him and his mother. He is now going to be a Tennessee Volunteer. He also posted on social media later in the day on signing day that, hey, my family doesn't want me going to Ohio State. They are now also taking my social media. So,
whoa.
Yeah. So,
this guy, they're ruining his life.
That post has been deleted, and there have been no other posts on his social media since then, because his family really wanted him to go to Tennessee, and because of his age.
So he got to put out one "I'm being held hostage" message, and then that message was taken down, and now he's a hostage without the ability to talk to people.
Right. So I did read a story earlier today where there was like an unnamed source from Tennessee that was like, listen, if this really is the situation that's going on, we will let him out of his letter of intent if he wants to, the next opportunity, if he wants to go and sign with Ohio State. If that's really the situation, once he turns 18, we will, we understand and we will work with him. But as of right now, he's a volunteer, and we're going to treat it like that. So, he's a talented young man who's had a lot of recruits as 4 or 5 star quarterback. And, you can't really go wrong either way for him.
Well, no, you
but
can.
Not being able to make the decision stinks.
Well, and then also he's now the guy who's at Tennessee trying to play quarterback because mommy told him to. Like, it's very easy to, the taunting that can take, like, I'm already thinking like an opposing fan and the kind of stuff that, used to just be on cardboard signs and in chants, but is now in online media, and
it's directly beamed to his phone.
Right. You can just talk. You can just talk to him and make fun of him. I think the best part of this story for him is taking away the social media. Like, get that out of here right now. You don't need that noise at all. When you just declared, I'm trying to do this thing, but mommy won't let me. I mean, just think of that when you're in high school and, you're trying to do something and there's the one kid who can't go see Metallica because his mom won't let him, and you never let that die. And now I can't go play college football at one or maybe the top program in the country because mommy said no. and now I'm at Tennessee, reluctantly being held hostage. I'm not a volunteer. I'm a victim. Like that's horrible. So getting rid of the social media, and I appreciate that part of it. Like every school should recognize, and I think at least most people at most schools recognize these are kids. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna make decisions. You're dealing with children.
Right.
And even a 21-year-old it's a kid, man. So they know that, and it would be insane to say, all right, now you're here. Now I need you to give. How do you ask that kid to give you his all in camp when you know that he's there because his mom made him go? Like, now I feel better about forcing my kid to try out for the school basketball team, because by the time we got through 3 tryouts and he got on the team, he went to his, like, he wants to play guitar and drums. But I'm like, yeah, you can do that when you get home from basketball. Go run around for a while. It'll be fine. You'll like it. And he did it. And then he had 3 nights in a row of 2-hour practice, which that's a lot, dude. For like, I've been through school sports. You've been through. This is his first venture into it. And to have, like, he went to tryouts on Monday. It's like, all right, cool. It's tonight. I'm like, yeah, and tomorrow and Wednesday. It's like, I'm going to go play basketball for 2 hours a night, 3 nights in a row. That sounded crazy to him. But by the time it ended, they asked him, do you want to be on this team? And he said, yeah. And so he's on it. And then he had practice for one of his rec teams yesterday because he's playing 2 of those too. He, for the first time ever, came home. He's like, practice was really fun today. And so he grew into it over the course of 4 days. And I'm talking about a 13-year-old. Over the course of 4 days, he grew into it. So maybe this kid goes to Tennessee and likes it. His mom drops him off. Instead of the parent crying, he's the one crying when they separate. And he gets in there, and it turns out he likes it there, and everything's cool, and he comes around. And at that point, he can have social media back because he wants to be there. But if you know he doesn't want to be there and he's a reluctant participant, how do you expect him to compete for a position on the team, to move up the depth chart, all that? So schools recognize that you don't want to be here. You didn't even get here yet. I don't want you here if you don't want to be here. So that's good to hear that they've at least addressed it. But, man, that's a crazy situation.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're running out of time.
I'm good today. I had to run out. We can go however, whatever. I mean, not forever,
Okay.
but you want
Well,
to keep
all
going.
right.
You told me you had a lot of stuff, and we've only touched on a couple things, and
I
I've
do.
sidetracked us on Waymo. So go ahead.
All right. Well, quickly, you've seen the movie House of Dynamite on Netflix?
I have.
I watched it last night.
Okay. Let me throw this out there.
Satisfied with the ending?
No,
I mean,
no.
What are we talking about?
No. Let me throw this out there.
Ruined the whole thing for me that I was enjoying.
Anything
And
you
then it
ever
gets
watch.
to the end, and I don't know.
I just want to hold on before you do this. Anything you ever watch, bring it. I would like the whole. I listened back to us talking about the Bills touchdown love story Hallmark movie. Part of me thinks we should stop talking about football and only talk about movies and only talk about movies that have massive problems. Like, part of me thinks that should be the show now. So anything you watch, you bring it here. I've got plenty of time for it. Okay, now start over because I talked over everything you were saying because I wanted to get that in. But I love this stuff. Yeah, House of Dynamite, Netflix movie. I watched it. It was like it came out like the day before one of our trips. So I watched it on a plane or a bus or something a couple weeks ago. Nobody else had seen it. So I haven't discussed it with anybody. This is the first conversation I'm having about the movie. Okay, now go.
Well, I mean, I like the premise. I like the idea. I even, to a certain point, like the execution of it's the same story told 3 times over, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 3 22-minute episodes where you watch this sequence of events. There's a nuclear strike. It's apparent that there's a nuclear strike happening, and it's going to hit the United States, and then it seems like it's going to be Chicago, and it might be D.C., but it's coming, and you get 22 minutes of what is the reaction to, now what? And you get that, and then it's just as the thing's about to hit, and it cuts, and it starts over, but now it's from a different perspective. So you get 3 different views of the same events. I don't remember what the first one started with. The second one was like Situation Room type of thing, and then the third one was the president.
It goes from like military, civilian, president. So the first one is the actual nuts and bolts of the military response, and then the second kind of part is the civilian response as far as the people that are in the government that are just civilians that are there to make these decisions, Secretary of Defense, stuff like that.
And dealing with like phone calls to their families and trying to organize
Yeah,
like
dealing with that, and then the last part is the presidential aspect of it. I like that. If they told me at the end there's a House of Dynamite 2 where it gets resolved, cool. All right, I see what you're doing. You got me hooked. I'm waiting for 2.
right.
But there's not.
No.
So
We don't know what
they
happened.
just don't tell you if it's an actual missile strike, if it is a nuke, if we do lose Chicago. They don't tell you what the response is, if there is any. They don't tell you what the president's decision is as far as will he respond, will he wait, will he launch a full-on counteroffensive, nothing. So they tell you what is happening, but then never actually tell you what happened. And I'm very frustrated by it.
It's maddening. And I think the first 2/3 were super well done. The third part was way sloppier, like the whole basketball thing, where it was
Angel Reese.
With Angel. I didn't need Angel Reese. Like that whole thing was stupid. But so I think it's 20. If it's 22 minutes, and then it's 22 minutes, and then by the third time it restarts, you're like, okay, I get what they're doing. I'm going to get 22 minutes, 22 minutes, 22 minutes, and then give me 5 minutes at the end that wraps it up. And they just, we'll just show you leading right up to, we don't know what's going to happen. Because it's the first time it happens. The first time it's like, it's basically like 3, 2, what? And then we start over. Like, oh, you got me. All right, fine. Different perspective. And then like Tracy Letts is the star of that. He's the guy that was the coach in Winning Time. Remember the coach that fell off the bike in Winning Time? I can't remember what his name was. The guy that got replaced by Pat Riley. It was that actor who is awesome. And he's the Secretary of Defense, and he's just great in it. And he rules the second part of it. And then it's about to end, and then it starts over again. Like, okay, all right, I'll watch this one more time. I think it's really well done because you're seeing different perspectives. You're kind of things that were in the background now are in the foreground, and things that were in the foreground are now in the background. And you hear little bits and pieces of the conversation. And I'm curious about how it was shot and how it was planned out, because it was really well executed. It just needed 4 more minutes at the end where they tell you what happened, and they didn't. And I get what they're going for. You have to think about it. It doesn't matter what happened. It's only about the response. But God, man, what did they do? What happened? I don't know. I'm not saying don't watch it either. Like I think it's worth it. But you could bail after 40 minutes. You could bail after the first 2 and be fine because you get nothing out of the third one.
I didn't see Winning Time, so I don't know.
Oh.
You're talking about the Secretary of Defense that, instead of getting on the helicopter, walks off the edge of the Pentagon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
He's awesome.
Well,
sorry. Yes, he is. I know him as Lane Price from Mad Men.
Okay.
He played a major character in that, and he was great.
He's he's like a theater actor, really like well known in that community and widely regarded. And anything I've seen him in, which is only a few things, but he really stood out in Winning Time. I can't believe you haven't seen that. You should definitely see that. At least the first season. Second season, like halfway through the second season, they found out they weren't getting renewed. And they were just like, all right, let's wrap it up, and kind of just shut things down. But the first season of Winning Time is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And then the second season started great, and then it just faded. But he was the coach who had Pat Riley as an assistant, and then he had a bike accident and got hurt, and then Pat Riley had to step in, and it all went from there. But he was awesome in that, and he was awesome in this.
Okay, one other quick thing in the movie industry.
Yeah.
I like Quentin Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
I like his movies. I like his opinions most of the time. I couldn't disagree with him more about Paul Dano. He's one of those guys that you and I always reference to. If he's in the movie, I am more interested to watch it right off the bat, because
100%.
Every time he's in a movie, I usually not necessarily like him, but enjoy the movie. And I've never once saw a movie with him in it and thought, this movie sucks because he's in it. And to have Tarantino take that blatant a shot at another actor, it makes me think that there is a personal aspect to it
100%. 100%.
because
That was so
it's
weird.
yeah. I don't know if Dano hooked up with a girl he was after, or
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 turn or
what was
turn
going
something
on,
turned him down for
or
a
turn
role.
something down. Yeah, I don't know, but that it seemed way out of pocket for a director to say something like that about an actor. I will give Tarantino credit for not giving a crap about
Yes.
saying his opinion.
Yeah.
I just strongly disagree with it, and it's a very odd thing to say about something that I've never heard anybody in the movie industry say like anything but this dude is a killer. Like he is a sneaky killer that will steal scenes every movie that he's in.
And there's something off about him, but that's what makes it. Like he almost looks like he wandered onto the set and then suddenly become like him. And I mean, There Will Be Blood. He's unbelievable. Little Miss Sunshine. He was annoying because he was he was the mute for a while. But he played Brian Wilson in that. I don't remember what that movie was called, but like I watched the whole thing because it was him as Brian Wilson, and there's a quirkiness to him that's a little jarring, but that's the flavor that he brings that I love. I think he's awesome. And he's not conventional. He's not going to play just, he's not competing with Tom Cruise for a role. He's not competing with, Ryan Reynolds for a role. He's got his own lane, but it's cool. I saw someone right after this Tarantino thing came out a couple days ago. I saw a conversation about it, and there was a pretty simple explanation that somebody offered. Now, again, this is people reacting to Tarantino about Paul Dano in the same way that I'm complaining that people are reacting to Victor Snow. I don't know Tarantino. I don't know Paul Dano. I know it's weird to hear that. Now, it's not unusual to think that somebody in Hollywood would think somebody else in Hollywood sucks. It is unusual to hear it happen, so that's weird. The explanation that I heard that I think makes really a lot of sense is that Tarantino, for a long time, has been hanging out doing exactly the right amount of cocaine. And this might be when he has a little too much cocaine. And I don't know, but I saw that as an explanation. I was like, that sounds plausible. I mean, Tarantino is nuts and spastic in every conversation I've ever seen or heard with him. He's a lunatic. So I don't know. Could be drugs.
To me, it's a really strong take for somebody that has made legendary movies, and the worst part of all of those movies are when he inserts himself in as the actor. The guy that is making this movie, and I guess we can relate to it, but all of a sudden he writes in a part where Salma Hayek's got to pour whiskey down her leg and he has to drink it
right
at the bottom off of her feet. Like, don't let's not pretend like you're not throwing yourself into these movies,
right.
And it's not clearly the worst acted part of the entire movie. Pulp Fiction is brilliant, and it's great, and it's entertaining.
But his role is jarring. Like, he does not belong on a screen with Travolta and Sam Jackson and Harvey Keitel. Like, he doesn't belong there. But in the moment, it stood out as weird, but almost in the same way that Paul Dano stands out as weird in a lot of things. So maybe he just feels like he's competing for being the weird actor, because both of them show up on the screen. You're like, this dude doesn't really fit here. And then a minute later, you're like, I can't stop watching Paul Dano. And a minute later with Tarantino, you're like, yeah, this guy's not an actor. I don't know what's going on here. So maybe he just feels pressure from that. I don't know.
I'll add in there. And one night on the road for a football game, we came back. There was nothing on, and I remember I made you watch a good chunk of the newest Batman movie. That was more of like a film noir, and you're like, no, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
And you were like, I said, you're going to want to watch it. Paul Dano's in it. He's good. And you did, and you were like, I hate that this is Batman, but I like the movie. Like, this is cool, and it's different. And he was fantastic as the Riddler in that. as somebody that had kind of lost their mind and was toying with the police. So, yeah, I like him. I disagree with that entire.
And then he got after Owen Wilson too, and Owen Wilson similar in that very often it can be jarring. His speech is weird, and it's like, but I like him. Like there are certain people that show up on the screen and seem like they don't belong, and then eventually you're like, oh, I get this vibe. It's just like he's playing jazz instead of straightforward rock or whatever. And I get it. I like it. It's there's room for that. There's a lot of entertainment options out there. A lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. And there's room for Paul Dano for sure. And there's room for Owen Wilson for sure. And there's room for Tarantino to make movies. Another thing in reading about this, because I became obsessed with it for a couple days, there are people who are there are a lot of people in Hollywood who have talked about like what a creep Tarantino is. And honestly, I've always said I love Tarantino. In the last couple days, reading this stuff. Now, again, this is how people get negative opinions of Victor Snow, too. I'm just reading stuff that unvetted people are writing online. But the thing about feet, they're like, just go watch any one of his movies. And then, of course, you bring up the Selma Hayek thing. That's from Dusk Till Dawn, I assume. Apparently, any of Tarantino's movies, he's got a feet thing, Rex Ryan style. And it shows up, and it adds a little bit of ick to everything. Doesn't make it bad. Feet are fine. You can like feet. I don't care. But it's weird, and he puts it on display apparently in a ton of his movies. I've never really noticed it, but the next time I watch, I'm gonna take a look. I do remember seeing a lot of feet in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Remember that, especially at like that hippie commune camp thing.
Margaret Qualley.
All that stuff. There's a lot. So I think the story checks out. It rings true in my head. Doesn't make him a bad director, but I don't know. It was weird. That said, we don't like when athletes won't answer questions. We don't like when coaches won't answer questions. But then as soon as they do, we're like, yeah, my offensive line sucks. A quarterback says, yeah, I got killed because my offensive line sucks. He's going to get destroyed for not being a good teammate. We do want the entertaining aspect of it, right? Like I do want Tarantino to say it, but it makes me, I don't know, question his taste a little bit.
I disagree with it. I will say the list that he put together, his top 20 list, I appreciate because he's willing to give his full unvarnished opinion, which is like, everybody's got to say Citizen Kane, and he's not afraid to come out and say, hey, what's a freaking awesome movie is the Denzel Washington, Chris Pine train movie.
Unstoppable.
I can't think of it.
Unstoppable. Yeah.
He's talked about that before where he's like, that movie is freaking great.
He's got it as the seventh best movie of the last 25 years.
Right. He loves Jackass. He's got that 13. On the list. Right. So credit for him to being for not just coming out and being, I think a lot of guys just answer these questions artsy wise.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't see any way how a human being could watch Jackass, the first one, and not come away saying that was great. How can you not watch Borat and be like, that I didn't like it?
You say human being, and it makes me picture my mom watching Jackass. So it's not every human being, but a dude, at least. How can a dude watch it and not like it? Yeah, his list, Shaun of the Dead's on there. Jackass, you mentioned School of Rock. School of Rock was great. You would not expect to see it listed 14th in a list of the top 20 movies of this century so far. He's got Black Hawk Down #1. Black Hawk Down was great. I just don't ever think of it. But in retrospect, yeah, that was awesome. I hate Lost in Translation, which he has third, but he can have his opinions. It's all right. We don't all have to like all the same things. But yeah, Unstoppable was the one that stood out. In fact, when this list came out, Fuller texted it to me because he's the one who told me about that movie. And I watched it, and it's one of their favorite movies now. We've watched it multiple times. It's great. Another movie thing, and it sounds the same, but Unbreakable. Well, this connects to the Batman thing you were talking about.
Oh, did you finally watch it?
I did.
And okay, this is what John and I were trying to get. We're told you that you needed to watch.
Yes, I watched it.
Your opinion.
It was awesome. I've watched it.
Thank you.
I've watched it the last 3 nights in a row, because it tricked me. It's upon further review, it is a straight up superhero origin story movie that I would never watch if it was called Superhero. But Unbreakable seemed more just like mystical and what's going on here. And they led me. It's M. Night Shyamalan, once again, got me to the end of a movie, and then it wasn't the same as like it wasn't about the surprise twist thing. It was just like, oh, I didn't even know what I was watching that whole time. And then I watch it back, and it's like, of course this is true. And honestly, he's so good at it that he makes me feel kind of stupid, but I like that. Like, I just watch it, I'm like, this is good. It's dark, it's intriguing. There are storylines I like. Obviously, the actors in it are great. Robin Wright Penn still looks amazing. Now it's 15 years old, so but I'm sure she still looks great. But she looks awesome. The kid in it is great, and they walked me through a superhero movie / comic book movie without being off-putting somehow, and tricked me into watching the whole thing to the point where it ended, and I was like, well, I'm going to watch that again because now I got to see all the stuff that I missed. And I watched it. I watched the whole thing, then I rewatched the end the next night, and then last night I watched the whole thing again. Or 2 nights ago I watched the whole thing again. So yeah, I'm in on that.
So you now have to watch the second
Glass.
It is Glass is the third.
Okay.
I can't think of the second one, but I can't think of the
It's
name
easy
of
to
it,
find. I've seen it, like Shine or what, I don't remember.
It's
Unbreakable Trilogy. This is the other thing you guys conned me into. Split, it's called.
Split, yes. And James McAvoy is fantastic in that as the main character there in Split. And here's the thing, now you just Googled it, so you know it's part of the trilogy. It was never marketed as being in the same universe. It was never advertised as being in the same thing. So as that movie happens, you don't realize it until the very last scene of the movie in the movie theater that you're watching a sequel to something that came out 8 years earlier.
16 years earlier.
Okay. Right.
Unbreakable 2000, Split 2016, Glass 2019. I've never heard of Split or Glass, and there's no part of me that thought that Unbreakable was part of a trilogy. But once I had seen it and rewound and watched, I'm like, all right, I need to understand some of the stuff that I missed. And I definitely missed some stuff, and it made more sense to me after reading things that people were saying about it online. But then it started referring to part 1 of the Unbreakable trilogy. I was like, what are you talking about? So these other movies exist, and they're good too. I should watch them?
Yes.
Okay.
But I think part of the allure, and again,
The trick that he pulled that he can't pull on.
The brilliance of M. Night Shyamalan is that you don't even, like, if you went to see Split, you didn't even realize until the credits that what you're watching is part 2 of the trilogy. And I don't want to I won't ruin any more for
No, that's
it,
enough. I've already figured this out.
Coming.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where it happened, and then after it happened, social media had, like, I don't know if it was the like the movie companies or what, but people started posting the in movie theater reaction of people watching it and being like, and having it set in and seeing people be like, oh dang,
yeah,
oh damn, oh man, and realizing there's going to be a third, and it was cool. So yeah, I love Shyamalan movies. I think that I think is probably overall his best.
Which one, Unbreakable or Split?
Unbreakable.
Okay.
I think Unbreakable is probably overall his Sign. I love Signs.
Yeah, I have to watch all of these. I think I don't know that I've seen any of the other ones. I mean, I love
Fifth Sense. You've seen Fifth Sense.
Sixth Sense was
Sixth Sense. Excuse me.
No, that was
Fifth Sense is what, Touch.
Yeah, that one's normal.
Sixth Sense.
Don't make a movie about that unless it's Tarantino and feet. No, that one I saw in the theater. It came out in '99, I think, and I was at Bill's training camp. And the way it used to work, like, we would just go live in Fredonia for 2 weeks, basically. And there were 2 practices a day, but that was it. There was nothing else. And we did a radio show at night, but the rest of the time was just yours. And so there's a lot of, hey, I saw Sixth Sense and Blair Witch Project on back-to-back days. Just going to a movie theater probably with Kevin Sylvester. I don't even know. But Chris Brown on the sidelines at a Bills practice in Fredonia came up to me and was like, "Do you know about this movie, The Sixth Sense?" And I said, I think, yeah, I heard it was coming out. He's like, "Go see it today. Don't talk to anybody else about it. I want to talk to you about it tomorrow. Don't read about it. Don't learn it. Just go." Okay. And I like that. Like being given that sort of direction. Like, I need you to see this right now. It works for me. The other one Fuller has been pushing on me that I can't stop thinking about is One Battle After Another, which I don't know if you're familiar or if you've seen it.
I have not seen it yet, but I got the full on review from John, and
it's going to win everything. It should win. I mean, I haven't seen every movie, but it's a contender. Everything about it is a contender for an Oscar. It's fantastic. It's so good. Same thing with that one. I watched that, and then I watched it again the next night, and I watched it again like 2 nights after that. So in the last 2 weeks, I've watched 2 movies, but each of them 3 times.
I'll leave you with this. It started a couple of minutes ago. They are doing the World Cup draw in Washington, D.C. today.
I have this written down. It says World Cup draw Friday. Who is Scott rooting for in Philly? Are you going to Philly? Is that where you're going?
I'm going to Philly.
Okay.
I have tickets to a game in Philly for a Group L. That's the last group. It will be the last game played before the knockout rounds begin. So we are rooting for good teams in Group L if you are watching or paying attention at home, so that I can see the best possible matchup.
Okay.
What will happen, I will probably get, Cape Verde versus Mongolia. And I'll be happy because it's a World Cup game and I can say I went and I've seen a World Cup game. But if we can make it Brazil and Germany,
but you could land anyone, right? I mean, like I don't follow this stuff, so I don't know how it works. I mean, you could get Italy, right? You could get.
Well, here's how it works.
Okay.
Is the 3 automatic qualifying teams, Mexico, U.S., Canada, they split all the 40 some odd teams up into 4 pots, and that's literally a bowl with their names in it. And in pot 1 of the 3 hosts, there's 12 groups, and then they take the FIFA rankings of teams from 1 to 9. So it's the 3 hosts and then 1 to 9. And then in pot 2, it's 10 to 23 or however many they have. So each pot, it progressively by ranking gets lower and lower and lower. And then each group is comprised of 1 team from each pot. So that way you have a more competitive balance throughout the field. However, no matter what you try to do, you eventually always end up with a group of death, as they call it, which is by luck of the draw, 3 teams that are very good or near the top of their rankings in each pot end up in the same group. So I'm hoping that ends up being Group L, and that it doesn't matter who I'm going to be seeing, because it'll be a close game and it'll be a good team. But you never know. You don't know what the draw is. And the other thing is that they're doing the draw here today, and there are still 4 or 5, it's either 4 or 6 spots that are still up for grabs. And they do intercontinental playoffs. So they determine the last couple of teams by, there's like 4 teams that didn't qualify yet from Europe will play a mix of teams from Asia and a couple of teams from Africa and somebody from North America. And then from there are the last groups of teams. They're not even qualified yet. Those games are scheduled, but they're in like a month. So they're just kind of picking for those teams, like whoever qualifier number 2 is going to be. So there's a possibility that I don't know one of the teams in there, and it still could be a good team like Italy or Switzerland or something like that. But for the most part, everybody is qualified and in, and I'm hoping that I get a good group so that last game, that game that I'm going to will at least have some fun teams in there.
All right. You thought we were done. I've got a closing thing for you. And I revealed it accidentally a little bit. Yesterday, you texted me about the Victor Snow thing, and I sent you a picture of my show sheet. All I had written down, I'm like, this is all I have written. 11 o'clock, Scott Wilson, Victor Snow. And then I wrote 11:50 in memoriam. But it was right under where it said Scott Wilson. So it looked like it said Scott Wilson in memoriam. And you're like, I died? And I said, no. But so that gave you a little bit of a preview. I plan on doing stuff like this more now that I'm messing around with the video. Like it'll be more well produced. I've been closing out the show the last couple days talking about people who died recently. We had a local radio news guy, Mark Leitner, passed away a couple days ago. We talked about that. Yesterday it was Steve Cropper, who was the guitarist from Booker T and the MGs. He was the Blues Brothers guy. I don't think it's reasonable to build the segment around waiting for somebody to die during the show and then talking about it. So what I did was I looked at fame, and I also in my research I just discovered that in the last couple days, Fuzzy Zeller died. I hadn't heard that. And Eldon Campbell, 9 seasons with the Lakers, NBA champion with the Pistons, born in '68. He died. I think, December 2nd. So it's not reasonable to build around current deaths. But what I did do is look up famous deaths on December 5th. And what I'm going to do, and this is fun for me, and I don't want you to feel like you're going to look stupid because I would be terrible at this game. But as it turns out, you're the one who's going to play the game. So we'll see how terrible you are. I'm going to name a person, a famous person who died on on December 5th of some year. You're going to tell me the year he died.
Oof. Okay.
Ready? There's about It's about 10 of them, maybe. Let's start easy-ish, and we'll go with Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela died on this day, December 5th, in what year?
2011.
Close enough. 2013. We'll give that to you. It's gonna get tougher as we move on.
I figured.
All right. Bob Dole. Former candidate for president.
Yeah, Bob Dole died in 2008.
He outlived you by 13 years. You're off by 13. 2021, Bob Dole died.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. All right. It's going to get hard.
Bob Dole was hard.
Shoeless Joe Jackson died on this date. Not in the Hall of Fame, famously. Member of the Black Sox. One of the greatest players in baseball history.
1958.
Close enough. I'm going to give you that one. 1951. You're in the right range. It's going to get hard. Former wrestler from the British Bulldogs. Not Davey Boy Smith, but the Dynamite Kid, whose actual name I didn't write down, but we know him as Dynamite Kid. When did the Dynamite Kid of British Bulldogs fame die? 80s wrestler.
1997.
2018.
Oof.
It's going to get hard. Dave Brubeck, who you would know from the song Take 5, of the Dave Brubeck Quartet, although he didn't actually write it. It was the sax player, Paul Desmond, who did. Kind of a jazz standard at this point. Dave Brubeck, piano player and band leader for the Dave Brubeck Quartet. What year did he die on December 5th?
He died in 1979.
2012. He survived. It's going to get hard. Just keep in mind.
It is hard.
It's going to get hard.
I think we've passed the hard.
No, we're getting there. There's 3 left. Dandy Don Meredith.
Oh, I
Monday
think
Night
he
Football
died in
broadcaster.
92.
2010. It's pretty good. All right, it's going to get hard right now. Ready?
Okay.
Claude Monet, painter. Claude Monet.
Claude Monet.
You could miss this by 400 years.
I think Claude Monet. I think Monet died in 1874.
That's not bad. 1926. 1874. That is not bad. All right, and now here's my piece de resistance. When did Mozart die? Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart passed away on December 5th of what year? This is In Memoriam, a new segment here on Riter Radio. I won't do it to you all the time. I can really only do this once because now you'll become self-aware and you'll be like, oh, I know I'm going on, so I'm going to look up deaths, and it's going to ruin it.
I won't do that.
You might accidentally, you're going to start noticing things. We'll see. We can't play it every week. But this is the last one.
1692.
That's not bad, because I wanted to see if you could get within 100. 1791. You got within 100. I think you crushed that, dude. You're the best player we've ever had at In Memoriam, the new game that's sweeping the nation here on Riter Radio. That's it.
It's quite incredible when you think about how long ago it was that Mozart and Bach and his buddies there were They were cranking out bangers.
Yeah, they were jamming. The thing that made me think of this is I saw a
They didn't have
stand-up.
soap.
So I saw a stand-up thing where they were talking about Picasso. Do you know about when did Pablo Picasso die? This is not a December 5th, but what's your guess on when Pablo Picasso died? And I have to
think
look it up to make
Picasso
sure I
died
get it right.
in like the 70s, didn't he?
Yeah, it's the 70s or 80s. It's 73. Yeah, so he died right before I was born in 74. So Picasso lived and then passed on his greatness to me or something, whatever. But the concept was he was alive in 1973. He was driving around in a car, in theory, driving around in a car in France listening to Black Sabbath. Picasso. And that's just the craziest thing. The comedian, I don't even remember who it was, but he had a whole bit on it, and I think that's nuts. And I also think, Mozart to me could have been in the 1300s. Not quite that, but I don't know that I could get it within 100. So 17, I can't because I just didn't know it without looking down at the sheet again. So this is not an easy game to play, and I think you aced it, man. 1791 is the right answer. You said 1892, I think. So or 1692 rather. So you're within 100. Good job, you nailed it.
Closest without going over.
Yeah, you can go over. We're just trying. We're just seeing how close you can get. What's the range? All right, I think I'm done. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, see you.
Bye. There's Scott Wilson. It's Riter Radio. That'll wrap things up. I'm going to play music again just because I like the new thing with... Oh, wait. I screwed that up. Studio mode. I'm learning. I'm learning on the fly here. Put the dentist back on the screen. All right. We're done for the show. Done with the show for today. Went way long. It's 12:32. But we're just having fun, man. It was like an hour and a half with Scott. Sorry, dude. He's at work. He's got a good job. He's got a good job. You can just hang out and talk crap with me for an hour and a half. But he was fired up about Victor Snow. I was too. We got that in and got in a bunch of other stuff. So thanks for listening. Thanks for a good week of kind of winging it Riter Radio, where I did it all without my show sheets. I think I might like it better. I think I might like the flying by the seat of my pants thing. We started using the group chat on or the chat on YouTube today, and then I abandoned it once Scott came on because I can't do all the stuff. I've got stuff on that screen, and then I was using the phone for the chat. But let's start using that. Let's start gravitating toward the YouTube version of the podcast. I'm not saying I'm not going to do the audio thing on Mixler. I'll keep doing it, but I'm not catering to it. It's just something that I kind of set. I turn it on. I turn it off at the end. That's where you can get live audio. If you want the live video, go on YouTube. The other thing about YouTube is even if you don't want to watch, you can put it on in the background and you can just listen, and it gives you the ability to pause. So if you want to, you can listen on your own timeline. It's on demand in that way. You can't pause Mixler. So we're heading toward YouTube. We're moving the chat toward YouTube. We're working on the website. A lot of interesting, cool developments. I think if you paid attention, especially on the YouTube feed this week, you saw there are a lot of new elements coming in. Again, one-man band, tough to do everything at once, but adding a little bit at a time, I feel the show getting better. And I'm glad you're with me for the ride. So thanks for liking, listening, watching, subscribing, sharing, following, all this stuff. Rating, reviewing. Spotify and YouTube are the two places I need you. Mixler is like a little extra thing. That's not doing anything for us as far as growth. It's just an easy place to listen to audio. And if that's where you want to be, that's fine. You're not hurting anything. I still welcome you hanging out there. I'm just saying there are better places to do it, better ways to do it. All right. I'm going to hit play on something. I'm going to actually pick a song. Got the whole list in front of me. And what sounds good to me right now? And it is... Ooh. All right. Let's see if this should just work. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Goodbye.